Hey everyone, my name is Psychosap and welcome back to Texas for the 2022 United States Grand Prix. This is episode 19 of the F1 22 calendar series. Time for track facts then. No American driver has ever won the United States Grand Prix when it of course was a part of the F1 World Championship. And Sebastian Vettel has made his F1 debut here in the United States Grand Prix even though it wasn't in Texas. Last and final fact for Kota, Lewis Hamilton has the opportunity to equal Ayrton Senna's record tally of United States Grand Prix poles in 2022. So let's see, keep an eye out for him. Now we're out for qualifying in this beautiful, fantastic track, and I just love how flowing and just fun Kota is. And of course it is one of the hottest tracks as well because it's in Texas, of course, and one of the 5 anti-clockwise circuits in the F1 calendar. So it is a fun track. On the first lap out I get just about a good time, close to pole but not just, so P2 it is, and we're gonna have to go out on another set of tires, see if we can get a better lap time or just stay where we are because the times are gonna change for everybody. So let's see. So we're getting very close then to the end of the 2022 championship, and looks like Max Verstappen and Red Bull are gonna be the winners this year, and it is said that they're gonna win whatever they do. They're gonna pretty much win this weekend, so let's see what happens. There's pretty much no chance for anyone else to come back at them unless of course the DNF every single race, which is unlikely. So these few corners that I'm just going through right now are quite the toughest for me, and just don't maintain that traction or perfection, I would say. And just as we're trying to push a little harder to try and get pole position, trying to close the gap, even though I was not on a good lap, we made a mistake, lost the rear here. This is where I've lost the rear several times during practice, so it is a difficult corner, I would say. And even though we're in a Red Bull, we're not able to go flat out. We're gonna have to lift a little bit, so it's pretty obvious we're gonna have to abort the lap, and let's see where we start at. So it is P2 then. We maintain that position. No one surprisingly is able to cross me or get a better time, so Max Verstappen starting behind me and Charles Leclerc gets the pole position. So both Mercedes, both Alpines and both McLarens are in the top 10. So it's going to be a fun race tomorrow.
Welcome to Texas, where we have had approximately 120,000 race fans flocking through the gates to attend this year's United States Grand Prix. They're excited, we're excited. I hope you're excited too. We're racing then today in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of this wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles per hour here today, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into Turn 1 and the long back straight into Turn 12. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, George Russell and Fernando Alonso, Norris, Ocon, Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz, Gasly, Magnussen, Valtteri Bottas and Tsunoda, Joe, Mick Schumacher, Alex Albon and Lance Stroll, Vettel and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into Turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
So we're starting P2 then. That's quite a great position to start. And Max Verstappen's behind us, and we just forget to get going there at the formation lap. But, well, trying to get stuff warmed up, it's going to be quite easy to get warmed up here in Texas. And parking spot will be important because it is a very steep uphill Turn 1, and it is just a place to lock up for everybody. And we're going to have to keep an eye out this weekend as well. Some fun stuff might be happening there, Turn 1. Sunny day then here in Texas. Let's get started for the United States Grand Prix 2022. 5 lights out and away we go. 5 pairs of cars then start the Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, the 2 Ferraris, separated by 8 cars, and we go down the inside. Charles Leclerc loses a little bit of traction there, little oversteer, and he loses a position. Now he is really fighting there with the really soft warm tires right now, and it's going to be easy for him to get back at me because this is the weakest portion of my track, and we're going to have to see if we can hold on to that position. Car trains then forming already. We can see the positions settling in, a lot of positions shuffling back in the order, so we're going to take a look really soon. For now, let's take a look at the fight between the top few cars, Red Bull versus Ferrari. Right now, Charles Leclerc trying to make a move around the outside, but he just doesn't have enough space there. And we see a lot of positions gained by Esteban Ocon as well. Let's hope we can get a replay soon. Making use of the slipstream, then Charles Leclerc gets ahead of me in the Red Bull, but can he make it stick? That position fighting for P1 right now, and he just stays ahead for a few corners and we squeeze past him, pushing him wider as much as possible in every single corner back to back, but he's still right there. He's gonna make use of that slipstream again. We go wide and he has another opportunity to make a move. So let's see then who comes out ahead. Side by side, Ferrari, Red Bull trying to maintain traction, going a little bit wider off the track, trying to stay and stick that position, but he does not back out, and Charles Leclerc has to take a little bit of an avoiding action, and that causes him to lose a position to George Russell, who finds a gap and goes through. Now will Charles Leclerc be able to get that position back? Let's see. Well, that Ferrari looks pretty quick in the slipstream, and straight line speed is quite great there, but he just doesn't get that move right. He's looking for a move down the inside of George Russell, but there's just not enough space this time. So let's take a look at the replays then. George Russell getting a great start, starting 5th behind his teammate Lewis Hamilton, who is behind Max Verstappen, and that is a great start from him. Lewis Hamilton just doesn't have enough space there. Max Verstappen's right ahead of him, and George Russell's taking the advantage of that, taking up the racing line, and he just goes through. Surprisingly, Max Verstappen lost a little bit of traction there. George Russell going through then. Now, like we said, Esteban Ocon makes 3 moves and a little bit of contact with his teammate Fernando Alonso. Not sure Alpine would be happy about that. So here we see the move then, Charles Leclerc moving out of the slipstream, and George Russell then having a nice warm back seat there with popcorn as well, and he's getting a nice view of what's going on ahead of him, and all he has to do is let them fight, lose time, and he's gonna get through. So that's exactly what's happening. He has gotten a lot more closer to both cars ahead of him. Charles Leclerc being shuffled around by the Red Bull ahead, so he's gonna have to look for an opportunity to get right through. Then Sergio is going straight wide off the track multiple times. That is me of course. So we're gonna have to see if we continue that, we're gonna be losing positions, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Charles Leclerc gets a better traction out of the corner and he just maintains it. And all the while, George Russell, having a nice backseat view, finds an opportunity and takes it. And he just misses out a little bit on that straight line speed, but he maintains the position. So Lando Norris then making up a few positions, challenging Lewis Hamilton for P5. McLaren doing great. Danny Rick not so much, and he was right behind Lando Norris at the start, but he's just fallen off a little bit now. Lewis Hamilton versus Lando Norris, side by side action through the snake corners, I would call it, and Lando Norris stays ahead for now. Well, Max Verstappen, who started in P3, had lost a few positions and he's just trying to gain them back right now. Charles Leclerc is the limping Ferrari who started all the way in pole position and is now about to lose that position to Max Verstappen. Is now 4th. Max Verstappen up in the podium positions again. Lando Norris doing great. He's also trying to go through, and Charles Leclerc locks up, and that is unfortunate. Charles Leclerc falling further back, but he is fighting back. Let's see if he gets back at Lando Norris, and no, that is going to be Norris's corner. Charles Leclerc has to back out. Seems like George Russell's really in love with Texas and he's doing great here today, and just as we go a little bit wide and he tries to gain that slipstream back so he can make a move. DRS is also enabled, and that's just going to be easy for him to overtake, but he just goes a little too late on the brakes and we get an opportunity to switch back and maintain that lead. So it is going to be lead for me, Max Verstappen then is still in P3 and he's trying to make a look for a move on George Russell, who has fallen back a little bit. Surprisingly, was trying to challenge me for a long time. Max Verstappen then trying to get ahead, and we have a similar move compared to what we had between me and Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. So this time George Russell staying ahead. Max Verstappen is probably going to come back at him soon again. Now, since I was in the lead of the race for so long, I kind of decided myself not to pit and continue for an extra lap on those soft tires, and that just makes it worse for the game, because the game always pits one driver and the next driver in the next lap. And even though I informed my team I'd be coming in for a pit stop, they simply do not work out that way. I mean, they just pit two cars at the same time. Max Verstappen right behind me on my tail. That's gonna lose a huge chunk of time, and that's just gonna hurt his race too much. So we can see then pitting for medium tires, and Max Verstappen is gonna have to wait for around 2 or maybe 3 seconds, and that's just gonna hurt his race so much. He's gonna probably come back further and further behind the grid. That's just gonna be bad for him. So I'm guessing he's gonna start pushing, and that's exactly what he's doing. Max Verstappen on Charles Leclerc very soon again, lap 12, and he's just trying to get ahead of Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc is still maintaining that pace. I mean, he's dropping down the order, but he is still faster than many of the cars ahead of him. So just as we were trying to get the fastest lap of the race, even though we have pole position, we're just not satisfied, right? And we make a mistake there, going a little bit throttle happy and spinning out on the penultimate lap. That is just unfortunate. So we'll get a replay of that, but it's just unfortunate that we're gonna have to, spin out that way. And I wasn't able to recover my cars quickly onto the track because both rear tires were on the grass, and that just let maybe lose 2 positions. And my target now is just not to lose position to Max Verstappen. And I mean, podium's a little bit too far. If there were more than 2 laps, maybe I could have considered it, but that's just unfortunate. I mean, it's bad error from me. And just as I'm recovering back onto the track, I mean, Charles Leclerc just bumps wheels with me. I mean, that is just illegal, and maybe it was a little bit of an unsafe return by me as well. And my only target, not to get overtaken by Max Verstappen, wasn't working out too well for some time. But it is then a unfortunate, disappointing finish for me at United States, even though I just love this track. So, leading the race for every single lap except for one. Well, that was fun, and definitely not a Red Bull 1-2 that I was expecting. So, well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I of course enjoyed the race a lot, except for that last lap. You know why. So so we have a couple of races more for the season to end. Of course, we have some really fun tracks coming up. We have Brazil coming up, we have Abu Dhabi coming up, which is a fun track in the game, but just a little bit boring to watch in real life. But we're gonna have to see what to do, and really exciting stuff coming up. So thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, of course, drop a like and a subscribe. Until the next one, I will see you soon. Take care, and bye bye.